Hello everyone. Today we're back in chapter 16. This will be part 3. And we're in journal 2 again. Joseph of Arimathea searched and found Emmanuel's friends from India. Went back with them to the tomb. They went to Emmanuel through a second entrance, which was a secret passage, and nursed him for 3 days and 3 nights, so that he was soon somewhat recovered, that he would have strength restored. The tomb remained in guarded state, for the priests and the Pharisees had gone to Pilate, saying, "Lord, we consider this crazy man said when he was still alive, 'I shall return after 3 days and 3 nights and arise.' For I shall only be in a languor. Therefore, please continue the guard for the full time, lest the last reception may not be worse than the first one." Pilate was most willing to grant such a request, for the incident was most distressing to him. He wanted it all behind him. The soldiers then went to the tomb and sealed the rock which had been placed in the opening. They knew not, however, that a second opening to assistance could go and come from the secret entrance, without being seen. On the third day, Emmanuel was strong enough to stand and walk. Easter was past, and the first day of the week had come, and 3 days and nights had also passed for Emmanuel, after which Emmanuel has said that he would live again after his apparent death. And behold, a great thunder arose in the air, and a radiant light came down from the sky, and landed, not far from the tomb, on the earth. "I had come to claim my son." Just like when he covered the sun, it wasn't just by some magic or mysticism, it was a ship. Just like in this, he came down in a ship. "I went to the tomb, and the soldiers moved aside, for they were terrified. But I raised my hand against them, and struck them with the lightning currents, one following another." I think they had Palpatine on that one. "They were stunned and fell to the ground, and were unconscious for a long time. Then I went to the tomb, rolled the stone away from the door, and said to Blessed Mary, mother of Emmanuel, and Mary Magdalene, to not be afraid. I know that you are seeking and tending of Emmanuel, who was crucified. But I told them he was not there, for he lived, and I showed unto them the place where he had lain. And I waited upon my son, and counseled with him, for mine pain and anger was still most great. I told these beloved ones who stood watch that Emmanuel would walk before them to Galilee, and there they would see him. They were filled with confusions, for they thought him dead, and were distressed at the empty tomb. I told them to look not for the living among the dead, and to go forth to tell the disciples. I warned them to tell none other." And like a small point here, is that even in our tainted holy book, and when they opened the tomb, what was it? Had to go. It was empty. What happened to the body? The wrappings were separate. So you got to think, he was still in his flesh. Did he just miraculously recover? Was he just brought back from the dead? Or, as some say, he was in spirit after that. But where'd the body go? Why was it empty? Even when they confronted him, when we see the disciples after this, they put his fingers through the wounds. One of the disciples did. It was physical. He was literally there. But it was Thomas. Remember how the story goes, doubting Thomas? But he was just curious. We all doubt. We're all here and there, but let's really think about that. Even in our book, why is there a discrepancy there? If there's no wrongdoings in our book, no errors, as you'd say. There is. It should be obvious. You'll open your eyes and hear. They told no other, but the soldiers roused and were surprised at what had happened, and left hurriedly to go into the city, and spread the news of what had happened. They came to the high priests and the elders of the council to have a secret meeting, so they would know what to lie unto the people, just like they do nowadays. You'll never guess what they do to keep the people quiet, and some of these people that are going to bring truth out. The soldiers were given a large sum of money to keep them silent, and were told to tell the people that Emmanuel's disciples had come at night and had taken his body. A little bit of hush money. Just like they did the JFK files, which is on our page. It's in there what actually happened. So everyone's now wondering what actually happened. It's in these books, who actually did it. The soldiers took the money and did as requested. Mary and Mary Magdalene went away and did as I had told them. And again they were visited by an etheric being they considered to be me. Mary went to the guardian angel being, who wore a brilliant white garment and was radiant in aspect, and reached forth to grasp his hand. But he stepped back and explained that he was different in kind than them, and his garment was a protection against the world atmosphere and contamination. He further told them that if they persisted and touched him, they would be consumed by fire, for he was energy for him. They were gently told to go their way and do as instructed. As they went their way, they met Peter and another disciple and told them what had transpired. Peter and the other disciple rushed to the tomb and found another of the disciples already there. They looked within and saw the shrouds neatly laying on the ground, and the first disciple was filled with fear and did not wish to go within the tomb. Peter came forth and went into the tomb and found everything like the disciple had seen. The shrouds were carefully folded and placed on the ground. Also, there was the shroud which now bore the imprint of Emmanuel's features and body. Also, there were salves and herbs along with some figures of clay, which were quite strange in appearance. The men had never seen such before. And I'd like to make a point about that, is I think it's under, if you look on YouTube about the finding of the tomb of Emmanuel, you'll see that these figurines were actually found in the actual tomb of Christ, and there was actually found 2 entrances into it. That's something you keep in mind. And they were found to be, I believe it was Indian origin, where these men came from, claimed to be in this. Just for your own research if you want to look into it. Peter and the other 2 disciples left the tomb after tending the remnants in security and returned to the city to gather with the remaining disciples. Dharma, it is quite enough for you this day, Chila, or student of light, for truth is difficult after thousands of years to change from fiction into fact. It can't be both. Ye ones who dare describe of truth are revered and cherished, and we will stand guard of thee that ye fear not. I place my seal upon this truth, that man may come to know, the records will be set to right, that the history shown accurately, for ye are in thy beginning times. So be it, for as it is written, in the heavens, so shall it come to pass upon thy place. All those things of the prophecies will be in the passing, and this is that ye ones of light shall be in the safety of our wings of light. I sanction these words in truth, and hereby place my holy benediction. I am that I am. I am Gabriel of the hierarchy of the holy lighted angelic realms. Come forth, that ye ones of mine son, Sananda, in the light of the one God of the creation. And that's all for chapter 16.